Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. As promised, today I have a full in-depth review of Chanel's new holiday collection. In today's review, I'll be reviewing the eyeshadow quad as well as the illuminating powder blush, letting you know if these are truly worth it and also showing you the kind of look that I would create with the eyeshadow quad. If you are not subscribed to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos. So let's get into today's review. I did film an unboxing as well as a first impression of the collection, but since then I've had some time to kind of play around with the eyeshadow palette as well as the blush, and I do have a lot of thoughts. If you watched that video, you probably noticed that Chanel has a very expansive collection coming at us this holiday season, but I don't think all of it is worth it. Chanel did create a large collection this year that not only includes an eyeshadow quad, but also 3 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. These are very large, and I am going to reserve this palette to create its own video. So for now, let's go ahead and talk about the eyeshadow quad. I personally think that this eyeshadow color story is unique. It's not something that I would expect wearing during the holiday season. It certainly does scream winter season to me, at least. I think these are really pretty. I do like purple eyeshadow, and one of the shades, which is this one right over here, this is the darkest purple. It is so pretty. It has that metallic type of shade. These do swatch smoothly and they have more of a satin feel to them. There is one matte shade and it is this gunmetal type of shade here. I personally thought that it would be more pigmented than what it is. I was going for a more intense eyeshadow look today, and when I picked up this color, I thought that this would be the base for that smoky look, but it did not kind of translate on the eyes the way that I had hoped. I really do wish that at least this one was more pigmented than what it is. Overall, when I mixed all of the shades together, I think that it did create a very nice and intense look. For those of you that really like that smoky look but don't want to go overboard, this is really easy to work with. The blue in here is a very nice surprise. It just gives such a nice pop of color, an icy blue color to the eyeshadow. I think that all of these 4 shades really work so well together, and you can certainly use these individually as well. I do see these as very nice as like a topper on their own. If you have a nice neutral eyeshadow look and then applying any one of these type of satin shades just on their own as a topper, these would look lovely. This palette can definitely give you that high intensity, smoky type of look as well as a more subtle look. So I do think out of this whole collection, this palette would be the most worth it in my opinion. Chanel did release 2 illuminating blushes in this collection. One is a rose shade and the other is a peach shade. I opted for the peach shade just because I felt that this would suit my complexion more so. I also knew that I was going to create more of a dark, intense, grungy type of eye look, and I felt that the peach would be more suitable for that look. Looking at the pan, it is beautiful. Chanel always creates beautiful embossments on their eyeshadows as well as their blushes, but these do go away as you use the eyeshadow. This does also have an overspray on the palette itself, but as you use the palette, you'll notice that that does go away. So I don't really see any high intense shimmer like they normally do with their highlighters every year. I'm actually glad they didn't create another oversized highlighter because we just do not need that. Sadly, this gave me very minimal color payoff. I applied this as my sole blush today, and as you can see, you can barely see the shade. Yes, it does have a very soft glimmer that is pretty, but I think that for the price, there are just better blushes out there. The middle shade actually swatches very intense, and it does leave a very nice glow to your cheeks. I did use this as a highlighter right on top. As you can see, just it does give a very nice subtle glow without looking too chunky. So you can certainly use this as a highlighter all on its own or mix it all to create a nice soft blush. But again, you won't get a big or a high intense color payoff from this. Would have loved to see something different from Chanel when it comes to their blush or even highlighter this year. Perhaps a powder and a cream blush duo. That would have been fantastic. I'm not sure why they stick with the same thing or the same idea every single year. This one was not something that I loved out of this collection, so if I would have passed up on anything, then it probably would have been this illuminating blush, just because there are so many other better options out there. The new Dior Forever blush, for instance, is amazing. I've been loving this formula. It is a soft filter matte formula, and I just wish that Dior would do something as unique as other brands. We just really need to move away from these pans that pretty much look the same at this point. Looking at these two side by side, you would never guess that this is from the same collection. I just feel like they don't complement each other. Say if, for instance, Chanel released a blush like this one. This is by Dior, and this would look so pretty with this eyeshadow look. I just feel like a more deep type of nude tone when it comes to a blush using this eyeshadow palette. I think that would look so pretty. As I mentioned, that I'm actually going to try it out. So this one is in shade Peony, and this is by Dior. And just a little bit is all you need. I really have been loving these blushes. Just look at how that ties the whole look together. I think this is such a pretty shade, and it really goes so well with this eye look. And then using this as a topper, just right over the blush. Yes, so it takes the blush that is matte to a very nice glimmer. So this is how I envision myself using this blush. As you can see alone, you can barely see it on my skin, but together with a cream-like blush, it looks really pretty. This collection also includes 2 different nail polish shades. I did purchase the purple shade, and I think it is beautiful. It really goes with the eyeshadow so well, and it's just a pretty color. No shimmer in it, just a flat matte type of nail polish shade, but it is really pretty. This collection also includes several lipstick shades, all of which I passed up on, and I will show you in a moment why. So let's go ahead and zoom you guys in and let me show you how I got today's look and also the lipstick shades that I would choose with this palette. I'm going to show you the kind of look that I would create using this quad. Last night I was brainstorming some ideas, which is typically what I do before I film any video. And just looking at this palette, first off, I think this would create a very gorgeous smoky type of look, just using this gunmetal shade all over or winging it out on the outer corner and then applying the other shades kind of in the inner corner would look beautiful. But I did want to show you some of the ideas that I drew up on my iPad. First look that I envisioned is this grungy type of smoky look. This would utilize all 4 shades, and it's very intense on the plum purple. So this is the first holiday type of glam look that I envision creating with this palette. If you're thinking less intense looks with this palette, you can certainly do that. I was thinking more of the blue tone all over the eye with just a little bit of the lavender tone, and then the other look does include some more of that purple, but they're less intense, so both of these would also look so gorgeous. Based on the ideas that I had for this palette, I do definitely want to do a smoky look, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start off by priming my eyelids. I'm using this shade by Lisa Eldridge. This one is in Phoebe, and it's just her liquid eyeshadow. I love using this. It's almost the same shade as my skin tone, so it's really perfect to prime my eyelids. So that's my eyes primed. I love doing this step. This is a completely matte eyeshadow, and as you can see, it doesn't really give a lot of color. It's just pretty much the same shade as my skin tone, but it really helps the eyeshadow lay on beautifully. Picking up this angled brush, I am going into the shade here. This is the darkest, and I just want to wing this out on the outer corner. I've been loving these brushes. This is the Details by Tati brush, and I feel like it really helps kind of create a beautiful wing, especially for those of you that have a hard time winging out your eyeshadow. Okay, so this is not as pigmented. I kind of thought that this would be very pigmented, but it really isn't. So let's go ahead and go in. You could certainly layer it. As you can see, I'm just layering it on. And then I do want to bring this in to my crease as well and just create a kind of V. Next, I'm using this flat brush by Dior and just going back in to that same shade and just shading right underneath my eye and creating a subtle wing. Now that I have the overall shape, I'm going to grab a flat brush, going back in to the same shade, and I'm just going to smoke this out and lay the shade. Now, I would have really wanted this shade to be a little bit more pigmented, but it does lay on very nicely. Just for the look that I envisioned, I was hoping for more pigment. Picking up a fluffy brush, I'm going into the lavender shade, and I'm going to add this into my crease. Now, these are shimmer shades, just the rest of the 3 shades are more shimmer shades, as opposed to that first shade, which is the only matte shade in this palette. Now picking up this deeper purple plum shade, I'm just using my finger with this step, and I'm going to pack this on all over my eyelid. This purple shade is probably my favorite in this entire palette. It really brings the look together. And I am going to blend all of this. I cleaned the initial brush that I used. I'm going in to this blue tone and just packing that on the brush. And then I want to use this in the inner corner. Yeah, that looks pretty. Going back into this purple shade, I am going to go ahead and use this right in the middle. Just kind of mirroring what I did on my eye. It's the blue tone, and then using this in the inner corner. Just like that. Using a clean, fluffy brush, I am just going to go ahead and diffuse all of the shades, get rid of any harsh edges, and always extend the shadow upward. I really do like the dimension that this created. Even though the first shade was not as pigmented, it really looks good when laid on with the other shades. I feel like I need to diffuse the eyeshadow a little bit more on my brow bone. So I'm picking up this powder by Dior and just using that same fluffy brush and then going back in to diffuse everything. See how that just diffuses all the shades without any shimmer, just because there's so much shimmer on my eyes right now, just to tone that down. So that is the finished look without any mascara or eyeliner. I would like to add a winged liner. I'm probably going to use a black liner and some mascara off camera, and I'll be right back. Here is the final look with some mascara and eyeliner. I ended up using just a regular pencil eyeliner. It is in black, but I really didn't want to take away from the eyeshadows. But how amazing is this? This is giving a femme fatale type of vibe, very smoky, and I really like it, especially if you have brown eyes like I do, then you will like these shades because they really make your eyes pop. I love this deep purple shade. It is really gorgeous. I imagine even also just using this on its own, just look at how lovely that is, and you can continue to pack this on the eyelid and it just looks so good. All right, I did not anticipate to love this look as much as I do. When I started with the first shade, I was kind of on edge. I thought that, okay, maybe I'm going to change my mind about this palette and I'm not going to like it, but This is nice. Definitely not for everyone. So if you don't like that grungy type of smoky look, then you will definitely not like this. This is an easy pass for you. But if you like to experiment with different shades, you like more of that really intense type of eye look, then you will love playing with this eyeshadow palette. Now let's add some blush, and I am going to use this Illuminating Powder Blush in Peach Lumière. That's part of this holiday collection. Could actually use just the middle shade as a highlight. Look at how white that is. You could even use this on like the brow bone just to add a little bit of highlight. Actually, that does look pretty. Yeah, you certainly can do that. So just pick up a little bit of the white shade and just pack it on the brow bone. Then you can just mix all the shades together. So this is subtle. Just try just the peach on its own. It's not very pigmented, but you can see somewhat of a glow in comparison to having nothing. I think that there just has been so many blush releases this year, and all of them have just had some really groundbreaking formulas. So when you use a traditional blush, it just doesn't hit the same anymore. I want to point out that as I'm using this blush, I notice that the overspray is going away and it's just left with just a regular blush shade. I have to say, if I would skip anything from this collection, then I probably would say this. For lighter skin tones, I think you will see this more so on your skin. But for deeper skin tones, you may not really see it as much. Pick up some more of that middle white shade because I feel like this is really the highlight in this palette. And I'm just going to use this as a subtle highlight. And then extending it onto my brow bone. So that definitely does leave a really nice highlight. If I add my lipstick, I'm just going to go ahead and set my makeup just to blend everything in. This is why I love makeup. I just love playing with different colors, creating different looks. And this is truly an intense look. Again, not for everybody, but certainly very fun to create. Now for lips, and as part of this collection, we have 3 Rouge Allure lipsticks. These are a matte formula. There's 2 reds and 1 soft pink. And then we have 2 Rouge Allure Laques. One is in a purple shade and the other is in a pink, very similar to last year's pink. Now, I do want to show you what a pink shade would look like. So this was from last year's collection, and this year's pink is very similar to this one. I would wear this shade with a subtle type of eye look, very minimal, something where this shade is what really pops, not with this kind of look where the eye is intense, the lips are intense. This is a no for me, so let me remove this and show you the shades that I would use with this look. If I was the creative director of this collection, then these are the 3 shades that I would release with this collection. So the first one is out of a holiday collection from a few years back. This one is in shade 807, also a Rouge Allure shade. And if you want more of a subtle pink shade, then I would choose something like this. And and I would just dab it on my lips. Nothing too intense. If you do want more of a pink shade with this look, then this is the kind of pink that I would use. Very lightly, just dab it on, perhaps adding a lip liner that's a shade or so darker, and I think that this would tie in with the look much better than a full-on pink. The next shade that I would choose is also in the Rouge Allure Velvet formula, and this one was from last year, and this one is in shade 600, and this is a deep shade. Watching this, as you can see, this has some of that plum tone that's in the eyeshadow, and it's much deeper than the eyeshadow. And I would also just pat this in. And this is the second lip that I would choose with this overall look. I think it ties in very well with the eyeshadow without going overboard. I do like that berry type of undertone because it looks so good with that purple plum and even that little bit of blue. So just dabbing it on the lips, I wouldn't go too intense with this lip color, again, because we are working with a very smoky look. But just a second choice that I would personally wear with this eye look. Next, we have a nude lip. This is also in the Rouge Allure Velvet formula, and this is out of the most recent collection in shade 76. A soft nude is always your best bet whenever you do a smoky eyeshadow like I did today. This ties the look so well together, and it is just very subtle without clashing with your eyeshadow look. So this is the third choice that I would choose with this look. Another option is in the Rouge Allure Laque formula. This shade is Dark Blossom. And if you want to keep things festive, as well as have a long wearing lip, then I would choose this one. This one also has a plum undertone, and I think this will go so well with the eye look. To admit, this is my favorite lip look thus far, but these are the shades that I would personally choose with this eye look, and this one is certainly my favorite. I just love that dark and deep type of shade. I think it ties perfectly with the eye look. So that's the final look using this year's Chanel holiday collection. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the description box below what you think about this collection. Will you be purchasing anything out of this collection? And also let me know which lip shade you preferred out of the lip shades that I showed you. After using this collection, I really think that the eyeshadow palette is the most worth it in this collection, as well as the nail polish. I think that these two really tell a story, and I love it when a collection tells a story, when it really makes sense. And I think that these two do just that. As for the blush, I think that this would have definitely been a pass for me, but I'm glad that I at least purchased it and showed it to you guys. But I just feel that the color payoff isn't there, and it's just like everything else that Chanel has created in the past, and I just feel like there are better blushes, even illuminating blushes out there. I'm very curious to see how this palette is going to look. So this will be my next video. I will create several looks using this palette. So let's see if I feel the same about this palette or if I think that this is worth it. And that is it for my first review of Chanel's new holiday collection. Let me know what you think about this collection down below in the description box. And be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos. And if you are interested in any more of my videos, I will leave a couple more right here for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.